Have you ever felt trapped, as if your mind were spinning in circles, replaying scenarios that haven't happened, or regrets that you can't undo? Overthinking is like standing in a storm where every drop of rain is a thought crashing down on you. It clouds your clarity, weighs you down, and makes even the simplest decisions feel impossible. You lie awake at night, replaying conversations, worrying about the future, and wishing for some kind of escape. But what if I told you that your mind holds the power to find calm even amidst the chaos? Imagine your thoughts as waves on an ocean, restless and unending. You cannot stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. The Buddhist timeless teachings offer us a way to do just that, not by fighting our thoughts, but by learning to observe them, understand them, and let them pass. This journey isn't about erasing your worries or silencing your mind completely. It's about reclaiming your inner peace, one moment at a time. Like a lantern lighting up the darkness, these practices can guide you toward a state of calm that you might have thought was out of reach. By the end of today's story, you'll not only have practical tools to quiet the storm within, but you'll also hear a profound Zen parable that will forever change how you approach your thoughts. Let's begin this transformative journey. It starts here, with you, and the choice to take a single mindful breath. Mindfulness is an invitation to step off the relentless treadmill of our thoughts and simply exist in the present. Imagine a crystal clear stream, its waters flowing gently yet steadily. When leaves fall into the stream, it doesn't resist or try to push them away. Instead, it lets them drift naturally with the current, remaining calm and undisturbed. This is the essence of mindfulness, to observe our thoughts as they arise and let them pass without clinging to them or pushing them aside. Picture your mind as that stream. Each thought is like a leaf. The more you try to grab onto it, the more the water ripples, losing its clarity. But when you let the leaf float naturally, the stream maintains its serene flow. This practice doesn't mean avoiding your thoughts or pretending they don't exist. It means acknowledging them and giving them permission to come and go. I remember a time when I was caught in the grip of overthinking about a major life decision. My mind raced with questions. What if I choose wrong? What will others think? It felt like a storm brewing in my head. Then I tried something simple, yet transformative. I focused on my breath. Each inhale and exhale became an anchor, grounding me in the present moment. As I continued, I noticed my thoughts, those worries and fears, were like passing clouds. They came, lingered for a moment, and then drifted away. To practice mindfulness, you don't need a perfect setting or hours of meditation. It can begin with small steps. For example, the next time you're overwhelmed by your thoughts, pause and take 3 deep breaths. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. Feel the air entering and leaving your nostrils. In that moment, you are reminding yourself that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer, the calm stream beneath the surface. Here's a story to bring this idea to life. A student once asked a Zen master how to deal with troubling thoughts. The master handed the student a cup of water and asked him to stir it vigorously. As the water swirled, the master said, "This is your mind when you try to fight your thoughts." Then he instructed the student to set the cup down. Slowly, the water stilled and the sediment settled to the bottom. "And this," the master said, "is your mind when you let things be." Mindfulness doesn't promise a life free of challenges, but it gives you the tools to face them with clarity and calmness. By simply observing your thoughts without judgment, you create space to respond rather than react. Like the stream, your mind can flow peacefully, no matter how many leaves fall. Imagine standing in a wide open field on a breezy day. Above you, clouds float effortlessly across the sky. Some are light and fluffy, while others are dark and heavy. You watch them pass without reaching out, without trying to pull one down or push another away. This is how observing your thoughts can feel, detached yet deeply aware. When you observe your thoughts as passing clouds, you step out of the storm of overthinking. You stop identifying with every single thought as though it defines you. Instead, you allow each one to appear, linger momentarily, and drift away, just like the clouds in the sky. This practice is powerful because it creates space, a space where clarity can emerge. I remember the first time I attempted this. My mind was cluttered with worries. What if I fail? What will people think? Did I do enough? These thoughts felt like weights pulling me down. Then I tried a simple visualization. I pictured each worry as a balloon. I imagined holding the string of each balloon, one by one, and then gently releasing it into the sky. Watching them float away gave me a profound sense of relief, as if I had set myself free. Over time, this practice did more than just calm my mind. It revealed patterns I hadn't noticed before. For instance, I began to see how often my thoughts circled around fear of judgment or perfectionism. Recognizing these recurring themes allowed me to address their roots rather than simply reacting to their symptoms. It helped me prioritize what truly mattered instead of being overwhelmed by every fleeting worry. Here's a practical example. Imagine you're caught in a loop of self-doubt before an important presentation. Instead of diving into the chaos of, what if I mess up? Or, what if they don't like it? Take a step back. Visualize those thoughts as clouds. Label them without judgment. Here's doubt. This one's fear of failure. Then, let them drift. By doing this, you detach from their emotional grip, giving yourself the mental freedom to focus on preparing with a clear mind. Another story that illustrates this practice comes from a monk who taught his students about thoughts and detachment. He poured a glass of muddy water and asked them how to make it clear. One student suggested filtering it, another proposed boiling it. The monk simply placed the glass on the table and let it sit. Slowly, the sediment settled, and the water became clear. This, he said, is what happens when you observe your thoughts without interference. Clarity comes naturally when you allow the mind to settle. By learning to observe your thoughts without judgment, you transform how you interact with your mind. You become the observer, not the participant in every fleeting worry. Over time, this practice can bring you a sense of freedom, helping you focus on what truly matters and letting go of the rest, just as clouds eventually drift away, leaving a clear sky behind. Like esta for no pueblos is it go deeper walking but looking at shores and pond. Muy que shike show sad yes show to both ones. No invented course such also show. We those sharp brand that's a show for done. Have you in your tree in the bass salary come predators terms. That guy's a boon do was Isabel you the boot group of moving the shoulders. Where she show how sad that's show too. For good well playing. Now in Vinny Courts us shoved. Those church brand and burger show for rebellion. Gan of you being broke you can rebel you bear I figure we government. Thus it been Kadosh argument. Durf that shoes your men offered us. Which is bar. Don't know. Gate up on the euros or the bird people were Cooper booking the Jones and Pump. Milligan Shija. And all in the Sam Dush show too. Show both opponents. Thrown in course else. Sash those up show. Those sharp brand that's a chuff and death. Av in your let to why their walk. Is it diddle average argument? The fashion is shake wet way. That way use a you. P tape. Pam Vilika shake units like Garban or Morbid. Muzar be pure. Kira people to snow poor can be other poor item with be current. You know, wasn't bank quarters or gone top. Team get figures up to go break. So we'll get dust shop train goods. Add in Yoda T. Wafio. As 10,000 dash he again. Patty often. Like as a Pinokinos is a bird, is a portrait Suki matures and tip, take on putting a shije. Now row, now you show two. Suko will on throw and big and core two get figure with your bird, you know, for no get no not shirt during the beer for your friend. Abby in Yoda Tui, nor fear we on. Plus no amush or eat. Goes back to you shaking with. But there's 30 goes is 30 the review the date. Take on doing a shit. And a remote the side this show is two. Sick old but on feeling and old Allah. It's very old the toe. Though the church drain and bless the church and dirty. And if you in your tree, hope you are tell we don't miss. Let's do to lust of the washi. That there the little one was is above it. The look you the toughest. Mental step, mental hold, the sign, death, tell it too. So go will one. Binnenkort zelfvertrouwen. Chuck brain about the chuff about it. Gan of you bed, tellus, right? Paxis. Copy, Brock. It ezekly you to give. To yourself a folk, as for me and Shintov. Imagine you're holding onto a rope tied to a heavy stone. The weight pulls you down, and no matter how hard you try to hold on, your hands ache. Your strength falters, and you feel trapped. The harder you grip, the more the struggle intensifies. But what if you simply let go? The stone falls away, and you're free. This is the nature of attachment, whether to thoughts, emotions, or desires. When we cling tightly, we invite suffering. The Buddha taught that attachment is one of the root causes of human pain because it binds us to what we cannot control. Thoughts and desires, by their very nature, are fleeting. They come, they linger, and eventually they pass. Our suffering arises when we try to hold on to them as if they were permanent. A Zen story beautifully illustrates this truth. A student once approached his master, troubled by his unrelenting worries. The master handed him a cup filled to the brim with water and told him to carry it around the garden without spilling a drop. The student walked carefully, gripping the cup tightly. By the end of the walk, his hands were trembling, his body tense. The master then poured the water out and said, "This is your mind when you cling. Let go, and you'll find the peace you seek." In my own experience, I've seen how clinging to specific outcomes can trap us. There was a time when I was consumed by the desire for a particular job. I imagined every scenario, planned every step, and attached my happiness to whether I got the offer. When it didn't work out, I was devastated. But then I remembered the lesson of letting go. I shifted my focus from the outcome to the process, improving my skills, exploring new opportunities, and trusting that the right path would reveal itself. In letting go, I discovered new possibilities I had been blind to before. Here's a practical way to practice releasing attachment. The next time you catch yourself fixating on a thought or outcome, pause. Take a deep breath and ask, what am I holding on to? Imagine that thought or desire as the heavy stone tied to your rope. With each exhale, loosen your grip. Visualize the rope slipping from your hands and the weight falling away. Notice how light and free you feel without it. Another way to embody this is to observe nature. Trees shed their leaves in autumn, trusting that new growth will come in spring. Rivers flow unceasingly, never clinging to the rocks or branches they pass. Nature thrives because it embraces impermanence. We too can learn from this rhythm. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means freeing yourself from the unnecessary burden of clinging so you can fully engage with the present moment. When you release the need to control or possess, you create space for peace, clarity, and unexpected opportunities to flow into your life. As the Zen master said, let go of the stone and you'll find peace. Compassion is often seen as something we extend to others, but the truth is, it begins within ourselves. Imagine this. A close friend comes to you feeling overwhelmed, lost in their thoughts, and unsure of what to do. Would you criticize them, point out their flaws, or dismiss their feelings? Of course not. You'd likely offer words of kindness, reassurance, and understanding. Now imagine treating yourself the same way. This is self-compassion, a powerful tool to quiet the inner critic that often fuels overthinking. When we're trapped in overthinking, our inner voice can be harsh and relentless. It picks apart our every move, magnifies mistakes, and questions our worth. But self-compassion allows us to shift that voice into one of support and care. Instead of berating ourselves for feeling overwhelmed, we can say, it's okay to feel this way. Let's navigate through it together. A practical example. Imagine you've made a mistake at work. Perhaps you missed a deadline or overlooked a detail in a project. Your inner critic immediately jumps in. How could you mess this up? You're not good enough. This voice only intensifies the cycle of overthinking, replaying the scenario and imagining worst-case outcomes. Self-compassion interrupts this cycle. Instead of spiraling, you pause and tell yourself, everyone makes mistakes. This is a chance to learn and grow. I'll do better next time. Here's another story that highlights the power of self-compassion. A young monk was struggling with his meditation practice, constantly distracted by his wandering thoughts. Frustrated, he confided in his teacher, saying, I'm failing at this. My mind is too restless. The teacher smiled and replied, when a baby is learning to walk, do we scold them for falling or do we encourage them to try again? Treat your mind like that child. Be patient and kind, and it will find its balance. This approach can transform how you handle difficult emotions. For example, when anxiety takes hold, instead of resisting it or blaming yourself, acknowledge its presence with compassion. Say, I see you, anxiety. You're here because I care about the situation, but I don't have to let you control me. This simple act of recognition softens the intensity of the emotion and creates space for clarity. Another way to cultivate self-compassion is through physical gestures. Place your hand on your heart or take a few deep breaths while repeating a kind phrase, like, may I be gentle with myself in this moment. These small acts can anchor you in the present and remind you that you deserve the same care you'd give to a loved one. As self-compassion becomes a habit, it extends naturally to others. You'll begin to notice that the same understanding you offer yourself can be shared with those around you. This creates a ripple effect of kindness, fostering deeper connections and a more empathetic approach to life. When overthinking strikes, remember this. Treat your mind as you would a dear friend. Offer it kindness, patience, and understanding. With each compassionate step you take, you move closer to a mind that is not only quieter, but also more resilient and at peace. In the complexity of modern life, our minds often mirror the chaos of our surroundings. When our environment is cluttered, it's as if our thoughts become entangled in the mess, making clarity and focus seem impossible. Simplifying your life, both physically and mentally, can have a profound impact on reducing overwhelm and fostering peace. Imagine walking into a room filled with scattered papers, unfinished tasks, and random objects piled on every surface. Just being there feels draining, doesn't it? Now contrast that with stepping into a space that's clean, organized, and intentional. The latter immediately gives a sense of calm and openness. This principle applies to our minds as well. By simplifying what surrounds us, we create space for mental clarity. I remember a time when my desk was a chaotic mix of sticky notes, random papers, and trinkets. Every time I sat down to work, I found it hard to focus, constantly distracted by the clutter. One day, I decided to clear it all. I removed everything that didn't serve a purpose or spark joy. The transformation was incredible, not just in my workspace, but also in my mind. With fewer distractions, I found myself less prone to overthinking and more able to concentrate on what truly mattered. Simplification isn't just about physical spaces. It extends to our commitments and routines. Take a moment to reflect on how you're spending your time. Are you saying yes to too many things, spreading yourself thin across obligations that don't align with your values or goals? I had a friend who realized she was overwhelmed because she had overcommitted to activities that drained her energy. She made a list of everything on her plate and started letting go of tasks that weren't essential. This act of prioritization not only lightened her schedule, but also gave her the freedom to fully engage in the things that brought her joy. Here's another powerful way to simplify. Limit the information you consume. In our hyper-connected world, we're bombarded with news, social media updates, and endless content. It's easy to feel mentally cluttered just by scrolling through your phone. Try setting boundaries. Designate specific times for checking emails or social media, and resist the urge to constantly stay plugged in. This creates room for more intentional and focused thinking. Even nature demonstrates the beauty of simplicity. Think of a tree shedding its leaves in autumn. It doesn't hold on to every leaf for fear of losing something. Instead, it lets go, trusting that spring will bring fresh growth. We too can let go of what no longer serves us, creating space for new possibilities to bloom. Simplifying your life doesn't mean giving up on ambition or joy. It means making deliberate choices about what deserves your attention and energy. It's about crafting a life where what remains truly matters. When you declutter your environment, your schedule, and even your thoughts, you'll find a newfound sense of ease, a quiet clarity that allows you to focus on the present moment and enjoy it fully. Impermanence is one of the most profound truths of life, a constant reminder that everything we experience, both joy and suffering, is temporary. Embracing this truth can transform how we approach our struggles, especially overthinking, which often stems from our desire to control or hold on to what is fleeting. Picture a river flowing endlessly. The water moves forward, never stopping, carrying with it leaves, branches, and stones. No matter how much we wish to freeze the moment or control its path, the river continues its journey. This is the nature of life, dynamic, ever-changing, and beyond our grasp. A Zen story captures this wisdom perfectly. A disciple once came to his master, weighed down by worry and doubt. The master, noticing his distress, said simply, "This too shall pass." At first, the disciple didn't understand, but as he observed the rhythm of life, the way joy faded, pain subsided, and circumstances evolved, he realized that clinging to his worries was futile. Just as the seasons change, so do our emotions, situations, and challenges. I've often found solace in this idea. There was a time when I was overwhelmed by a personal failure, replaying the event over and over in my mind. It felt like the weight of my thoughts would never lift. But then I reminded myself of impermanence. I thought, if joy can be fleeting, so can pain. This moment, no matter how heavy, will eventually pass. With that perspective, the burden began to feel lighter, and I was able to move forward. A practical way to embrace impermanence is to observe your own thoughts and emotions as waves in the ocean. Notice how each wave rises, peaks, and eventually recedes. The next time overthinking grips you, visualize your worries as waves. They may crash, but they'll always settle. This mindset allows you to detach from the intensity of the moment, recognizing it as part of a larger flow. Nature offers countless examples of impermanence. The sun sets and darkness falls, but morning always comes. Trees shed their leaves in autumn, trusting that new growth will emerge in spring. Even the mightiest mountains are shaped and changed over time by wind and water. These cycles remind us that nothing remains static, and within that constant change lies an opportunity for renewal. To embrace impermanence is not to dismiss life's challenges, but to accept them with grace. When we stop resisting the natural flow of change, we make room for peace. Overthinking loses its grip because we realize there's no need to solve everything at once. Life will unfold as it's meant to, moment by moment. As the Zen master said, "This too shall pass." Let this truth be a gentle reminder that whatever you're experiencing, be it joy, sorrow, or uncertainty, is temporary. Like the river, life flows forward, always offering a chance for new beginnings. Overthinking doesn't have to dominate your life. You hold the power to break free from its grip by embracing mindfulness, balance, and self-compassion. These practices act as your anchor, calming the storm within and transforming it into a peaceful stream. Remember the wisdom of the Zen master. This too shall pass. Just as all things in life are temporary, so are your worries. Take the first step today. Choose one thought. Observe it without judgment and let it drift away like a passing cloud. Each small practice builds toward a more serene, centered you. And as you cultivate this peace within yourself, you contribute to a world that is kinder and more mindful. If this video spoke to you, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who might benefit from this message. Together, let's spread this ripple of calm and clarity. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Stay mindful and take care.